Hi everybody, Ed Skorsky here from Bring Back the Memory. And our company buys and sells collectibles, and today we're going to continue with a series of videos on collecting stock certificates. Today our topic is how to determine the value of a stock certificate. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go over 7 factors that are used to determine the value. Now before I do that, there's 2 things to keep in mind that are very important. Number 1 is that these certificates have no intrinsic value. They cannot be traded in for money. They've already been canceled, they've been traded in, so that goes without saying. Their value is as a collectible, but not as something that you can trade in for currency. And secondly, the other thing to keep in mind is the value of a stock certificate or a bond certificate is only what somebody's willing to pay for it. Okay, so there's no definite price. You can't say, it's valued at $50, so here's my certificate, give me $50. Doesn't work that way. 2 people have to agree on what something is worth, and that's how they determine the value. So keep that in mind. All right, now with that in mind, here's the 7 factors that for the most part determine the value of the stock certificate. Okay, now the first one is rarity. Now, rarity is how many certificates are in existence compared to how many people want the certificate. So it's basically the law of supply and demand. If there's a lot of people that want a certificate and there's not that many certificates available, it becomes much more valuable. There's only a few certificates, then that becomes more valuable yet. Now I got a couple of things here that I'm going to use as examples today. The first one is a bond certificate from the Cincinnati and Springfield Railway Company, issued in 1871. So this is really old. Issued in the 1800s, so that's one. And this is the Pennsylvania Railroad Company. This is issued in 1956. So you can see the difference in ages, okay? This certificate is much more rare than this one. This is pretty common. So there's the difference in rarity would make this certificate probably more valuable than this one, and actually it is more valuable. Okay, now the second one would be the appearance. When companies issue certificates, they want to entice you into buying. If it's a stock, buying shares in their stock. If it's a bond, they want you to invest in their company and lend their company money. So both of these certificates are very attractive. This is a beautiful certificate. It's one of my favorites. It's got a beautiful vignette. Look at the lettering on it and how nice it is. And now this one is also attractive, and this one has the vignette. The drawing is of the horseshoe curve in Altoona, Pennsylvania, a very famous landmark. Okay, so they're both pretty attractive. Now the third thing is the industry itself. Now both of these are railroad companies, and the railroad industry, which is really my favorite, that's why they're up here, is a really exciting company type of industry, all right, as opposed to something, let's say a company that manufactures paint. Well, some people might think that's exciting, but for the most part, it's just a commodity, and it's not exciting. When you think about paint, you don't think of it in the same line as with a railroad travel, right? So now, the next thing, and we had mentioned this before, is the artwork. The artwork is found in the vignettes. The vignette, again, is the pictures that are found on the certificates. Now these vignettes are metallically engraved into the certificate. Now this is a $1,000 bond, and if it's a bearer bond, it's paid to the bearer of it. So the person who has possession of that bond trades it in for $1,000, all right? Now obviously they wouldn't want that to be counterfeited, so they make it just like currency. They engrave the vignette into the certificate so it would not be counterfeited. And both vignettes are very attractive, and that's one of the reasons why people collect stock certificates. The artwork is beautiful. This one is in a frame, so just imagine that hung up on a wall. It looks really, really nice. Okay, the next thing is the age of the certificate. This goes back to 1871. This is 1956. Again, pretty big age difference, okay? Now that doesn't always make this more valuable than this, but in this case, this one is more valuable than this certificate here. The next thing is the condition. Now, both of these are in really good condition, Okay, what detracts from the condition? Well, if it's folded a lot, or if there's a lot of punch holes when you cancel the certificate, they cancel it by punching holes into it. Now, if the holes are very small and you can't see it, well, that doesn't look too bad. But if sometimes they would take a pencil and just put a big X through it to show it was canceled. Well, that doesn't look very nice, and that would detract from the value of the certificate. All right, so the condition of the certificate, maybe it's torn, again, that would detract from the condition. Now, finally, the last thing would be if there are any famous people who have signed the certificates, okay? Now, in this case, this one actually does have a famous signature, and it's on the back, and it's framed, so I can't show it to you, but it's signed by Augustus Schell, a very famous politician from New York City, all right? Now, this one doesn't. Now, I want to show you another certificate. Here's the New York Central Railroad, picture of Cornelius Vanderbilt, the owner of the New York Central Railroad. This certificate is a very common certificate. You can buy this one for less than $10 and probably $1 or $2, okay? So it's very common, but let's say that you found this exact certificate and on the other side or even on the bottom, it was signed by Cornelius Vanderbilt. Now that $2 certificate increases in value to $500 or more. So if you have a certificate with a signature of a famous person, that increases the value. And every once in a while, if you collect certificates and you look hard enough, you just might find one like that. Okay, so now these are the things, again, keeping in mind that the value of a certificate is only what somebody's willing to pay for it. It follows the laws of supply and demand, but these are some things that hopefully you'll find that will help you in determining the value of the certificate. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye.